switching would improve practice efficiency. Do you know what? I just want to say, no shit, Sherlock. It's shocking.
Shocked. How does your bookkeeping practice compare to your peers? In this episode, we're going to talk to you about Xero's 2025 Accounting and Bookkeeping Industry Report. So, Joe, we've been working with Xero for years, sponsoring the podcast, and I know you've been working closely with them on XPAC. Tell me about that.
Yeah, XPAC. So that's the Xero Partner Advisory Council. And I was invited onto that a couple of years ago. Had no idea what it was. I was very, very nervous.
How did you get invited?
So basically, when you are a practice owner and you are, then you can either put yourself forward or you can be invited. I didn't know it was a thing, but obviously we had been speaking to them with regards to the podcast, and I was a practice owner, and so they said, they invited me and said, we don't actually have a bookkeeper on the advisory council.
Okay.
Would you like to be representing bookkeepers on here? And I was like, absolutely. And now there is actually another bookkeeper on the council as well. And I had a conversation with the XPAC in Ireland the other day, and they were talking about it. I said, just a quick question, do you have a bookkeeper? And they're like, no, we don't. But what we do know about Xero is that they don't mention the A's without the B's. They're very much like accountants and bookkeepers. But like with anything, you know, sometimes you don't see what you don't see. And so it's been really, really nice. And actually, I know that I bring a different viewpoint from the bookkeeper's point of view, sometimes to lots of the things that we discuss. So we get to see what's coming up, feature releases. We speak to the teams that are building the features. We get to see things about the branding and advertising and marketing and pricing and all of these things that are coming up. And not allowed to say anything until it's obviously released to the public, but we get to get our viewpoint across, which is really valuable.
So you're kind of like non-exec directors or like a kind of sounding board.
Yes, absolutely. And we're really honest. And sometimes our feedback is amazing and everyone's really happy. And sometimes it's kind of hard to hear, but that's like a board of directors would be like. So yeah, it's been really good fun and really insightful to see what goes on behind the scenes.
So this report, the Xero team told us about it. We wanted to look at it because we think that knowing what other practices are doing is important for comparing yourself against your peers.
Yeah.
I like to know what our small business community, because it's mainly sole practitioners and small practices we work with, and I like to know what they can learn from the larger practices.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes actually just looking at this, I think there might be things that the large practices can learn from the small practices.
100%. And reading something like this is like important for your business. It's a grown-up thing to do. But when you're running a small business, you're firefighting, you've got urgent things, your clients are phoning, there's emails. You don't have like half an hour to sit down and leisurely read a report.
No.
So that's why we thought we'd do it for you. We will talk through it all. You can listen to us. You can go on a dog walk. You can take your kids to school, listen to us in the car, and we will dissect it.
Nice. I like that. I love stats, Joe. Like, I love it when someone gives me some kind of report to have a look at. But I also get it. Like, when you're busy in business, it's like, oh, it's just like some other corporate report. Why do I even need to do this? But I think that actually understanding where you are placed in the business, like compared to others, is important. And also the stats. Just knowing the stats, we're numbers people.
Yeah, we are numbers people. And I think sometimes we underestimate the power of the numbers and we don't look at these kind of numbers for our businesses. We might look at it for our clients, but this is the work that we need to do.
Yeah. So top headlines, like lots of this is about revenue. Why is it increasing? Which size of practice is it increasing for? What about profits? Then we've got like who's gaining more clients. There's loads of stuff like that. But the first thing that really struck me was right at the beginning. Honestly, I was shocked.
Okay.
So it says technology, including cloud software, is seen as a major opportunity for the industry. And then it goes on to talk about some growth. But I feel like the opportunity was a very long time ago. This feels like this report was not written for today.
Well, no. And isn't that funny? Technology, including cloud software, is seen as a major opportunity for the industry. Like,
and driver of growth.
Yeah. I mean, I think Xero came into my life in 2011.
Mm.
That's when I feel like it was the opportunity. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So first of all, what do we take from that from our community?
Well, everyone's cloud-based anyway.
Yeah.
So that's going to say you are in those like the top practices already.
Yeah.
I'm just looking because I'm honestly, I can't get past that.
No, it's really so. Okay, so I think this shows that we are in an echo chamber, and that we think that the people that we surround ourselves with in our bookkeeping businesses, that's the norm. But actually, we're a small percentage, and the traditional firms are still not embracing cloud and see it as something they're going to work towards.
Yeah. So one of the stats here, it's 44% report that adopting or switching to cloud-based software has increased their practice efficiency. But I reckon of the people surveyed, lots of people haven't actually had to make that adoption. There must be, I just feel like there must be more people who started their practice on cloud software anyway. Like there wouldn't have been another option.
So I suppose it depends on who is being surveyed. So I know there was 250 practices ranging from sole practitioners to large practices. So I can imagine, if you imagine a firm though that's been around for decades, maybe, or that small firm that, there's been a sole practitioner at the helm for decades, I think they're still doing the things they did in the past, and they maybe haven't adopted. But the fact that they're seeing it, is like switching would improve practice efficiency. Do you know what? I just want to say, no shit, Sherlock. Like, of course.
But when you're in the thick of doing the work and things are it works, whatever your system is, desktop based or in a big ledger, a big paper ledger, if it works, you aren't going to feel. This is a problem with stuff like MTD, because people don't see the instant benefit, and they're like, well, the way we do it works, and I don't really want to go through the faff of learning this new thing. You can see why people get stuck. It's just I am gobsmacked.
It's change, isn't it? People are scared of change, and if it's working now, don't try and fix it. Just leave it as it is.
In case you break it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can see that it most probably would increase efficiency, but it's just too much of a struggle to get there.
Yeah.
So stay where you're at.
Okay. Guys, switch to the cloud. All right, next one then. Or the next one for me. I don't know if you thought this too. I'm still stuck on the cloud thing, Jo.
Okay, I'm going to bring up my key point. About the bookkeeping and accounting industry growth. Okay, so it was a growth in one area. 49% of practices reported they'd gained new clients.
Good.
But only half.
So what are the other 51% of practices doing? Have they got sorry, we're not open, no clients?
But the thing is,
needed
when
here.
You might say you gain a new client 1 year. You may have lost a client, or they might have died or shut the business down. If you're saying you've not gained a new client, it's not saying more clients. It's saying a new client. So that to me, I'm reading that 51%
are the
have
same,
got same or smaller.
Yeah.
Which is worrying.
Yeah.
Why are you not why are the rest of your clients not referring you to people? I'm not saying you have to do massive marketing, but if you're doing a good enough job, you will naturally attract a new client. So that's...
And there was a big mix of, I know you said there were 250 firms surveyed in here, and it was a range they put right at the beginning, didn't they? That there were some were sole practitioners, but they went right through to larger practices. So there are going to be some big firms in these numbers.
Yeah, I found that surprising, especially when 79% reported increased revenue and 74% had increased profits. I would have thought it would have been similar in the 70s for gain to new clients, not 49. I thought that was surprising.
Yeah. Me too, yeah. And there are new businesses opening all the time. You just see that natural churn, people thinking, it's time. They're seeing news about there's some software that's going to help you automate. Like, you're going to have a conversation with a bookkeeper or an accountant about that, aren't you?
Yeah, and you think about the gig era that we're in. Like, everyone's got a side hustle.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing something plus their full-time job, or they're leaving. Like, we've just had COVID happen, and everyone was like, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm going to set up. Everyone I know is like, it's definitely moved to that economy where people are doing things on this. So it's just surprising.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next one for me was, I know we've spoken about this before, Joe. 40% of clients are set up with connected bank feeds.
Oh my God. What?
Can you imagine using Xero without a connected bank feed?
86% of practices use cloud for at least one client.
Just one.
At least. But 40% of those, so it's not even...
Oh, hang on, what?
It's 40% of the ones that are connected to cloud, so it's not even all their clients.
86% of practices use cloud for at least one client. Only 59% of their bookkeeping work is done in the cloud.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we're on like 60% of 80. Watch the accountant do maths. It's like low, 56% or something of doing their bookkeeping in the cloud. And then only 40% of those have a bank feed. So it's
connected.
Like 25%.
Which is what we heard before, didn't we? We heard that overall, that actually with Xero across the board, there was a lot of them that have that. So they've got the cloud software.
Yeah.
They just haven't connected the bank feed. So what are they doing? I just don't understand the point. But is this because we're bookkeepers looking at this and thinking about regularly reconciling the bank account, making sure that the data is up to date, that everything is cleared down, and that we don't want to be downloading... Are they downloading CSVs to upload? It's so much easier.
And
just
when are they doing it? Like, is it that they're just waiting till the end of the year and then uploading, getting the CSV or the PDF and trying to work out how to turn it into a document and then uploading it into Xero?
Well, they've been given physical bank statements.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Like cash coding it or something.
Like physically being handed the printed out bank statements. Is it because there's that... So with bookkeepers, we have that relationship where there's the expectation that we're going to be doing regular bookkeeping. Do they have an issue to get people to trust them? Is this an accountant and bookkeeper issue where the clients don't trust? Or I'm really like, as a business owner, stepping the bookkeeping aside, as a business owner, I love having my bank feeds in my Xero because it means that I can access... Like, I get a bit annoyed if I'm a week out of my bank rate because I want to report...
But you're looking at your Xero, and I think loads of business owners aren't looking at their accounts.
Okay, yeah.
They're just looking at their bank balance and going, oh, it's some money, it'll probably be all right. Or like, I know I've got to pay my VAT bill in a few weeks, but after that, I'll be all right.
Falls back on the accountant and bookkeeper not doing a good enough job of explaining why timely information and accurate bookkeeping is so important to be able to understand like how they can help you in your business. So yeah, it's shocking.
Shocked.
So the final headline that they've kind of come up with is about the optimism for the future that bookkeepers and accountants have, especially including the MTD for IT mandation. They are very optimistic. They feel that this is a good thing. They want to embrace this technology, and actually the use of technology does impact their level of optimism. But that's because imagine trying to do this again without technology, without bank feeds. I'm thinking about VAT returns. It's very, I think the reason people are feeling good about it is because we've been through it with VAT. And like, do you remember doing... Did you do paper VAT returns and all of that? Like, it's been a good experience mainly.
Yeah.
So I think people think, oh, okay, this is going to be good, but it is different because people, when they were doing VAT returns, were used to doing quarterly VAT returns.
Yeah.
We're not used to doing quarterly tax returns for self-assessment. So I think there's going to be a big change. I think they're excited for the opportunity. Also, I think it will help with that January stress, bringing everything, into play. I just hope it doesn't cause 4 quarters of stress for accountants and bookkeepers.
I don't know if I feel, or my general sense of the community is that everyone's really positive. Like, we've heard about bookkeepers disengaging sole trader clients because because the sole trader isn't ready to adopt cloud software. But also because I think bookkeepers at the moment are finding it quite hard to work out how to price MTD. And I feel like we're so close. We kind of need to decide now. So I'm really interested to speak to these 77% optimistic people.
I mean, something else that comes up here is that 32% of cloud users report feeling very optimistic. 25% of desktop users feel very optimistic. But where's the 77? I'm trying to figure out what are the other people doing if they're not using cloud or desktop.
Don't know.
Interesting stat there. But okay, so there is a point here that they say that we do need to think and address security and data privacy concerns related to the new technology. But I think people are liking the fact it's mandated. Also, they have reduced a lot of the levels of who's got to do it straight away. So
it's just like, this is happening, tough luck, get on with it. You're going to have to deal with it.
And remember, we've already been through this before where we thought it was happening and then it didn't follow through. So it's kind of like a bit of, we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Kind of knew it was coming. So go with it.
Nice. Okay, should we talk about revenue growth, profit growth? Because the stats are like 79% of practices are reporting increased revenue, 74% are reporting increased profits, which is really good. And you said, there were some people, we were talking earlier about who had added new clients, and there weren't heaps, but actually when you go and have a look on another page where it talks about where is the increased revenue coming from, increased revenue seemed to be coming from new clients, but increased profit was coming not necessarily, or not the top score being new clients, but actually coming from offering additional services. Nice. And when you haven't got to invest in finding a new client, then you have there's obviously more margin that's created. It's raised, and
that's really sensible. Like, if you have a client base and you like your clients and they're good, and and you can offer better, increased services to them. If you've done the bookkeeping and it's all up to date, you have opportunities to offer more services. Whether, we're going to talk about like the different types of advisory, because that's listed here, and what people think advisory is, because I think that is a really good point, because lots of people don't know what it means. And actually it's interpreted differently by different people. But this is the thing. I do like that stat that people are increasing profits and increasing turnover. That's great, and maybe not necessarily coming from new clients. What just worried me is that there's always natural churn in any business. So if you've not had one new one, I feel like you might have ended up with a smaller client base. That's fine if you're keeping the really good clients and you're offering increased services and you've got more revenue and profit from them. Perfect.
Yeah. I feel like the profit, if you think about like economies of scale, if you're growing a business, with a bookkeeping or accountancy practice, although you have those like stepped costs as you're bringing staff in, you have like a level of overheads that are pretty static. And I'm thinking, if your revenue, like it's very close, but if your revenue is increasing by 79%, that might be because you've been able to put your prices up. It might be because you've got more clients, whatever. But your profits should be, in my mind, increasing more than that 79%, because you're probably not experiencing a massive uplift in your overheads. But then, of course, we're under like quite a lot of pressure at the moment, cost-wise. So that is eating into margins. And I just wonder whether there's maybe like, this sort of says to me, maybe there's still like a bit of a pricing problem.
I was going to say, I think it's a pricing issue.
Yeah.
I think they're bringing in as well, their costs might be going up with software, but they're not putting that cost on so really, if you think about it as well, with software and AI, they should have more capacity.
Yeah.
To take on more clients. That was the other thing. It's like, our job is getting quicker and faster. But if we're not pricing accordingly, then that will be where we're being squeezed. Cool. Something else that's interesting here is that 18% of practices increased their revenue significantly, but that was mainly the sole practitioners and the large practices. The small and medium didn't increase as much, like significantly. And so it's interesting that it's like either end of the scale. Like
what's a small practice and what's a medium practice? Did they say?
Yeah, they did. So sole practitioners 1 employee, small practice 2 to 10, medium 11 to 50, and large is 51 plus.
Oh, okay. So there's I'm just thinking in that medium practice range, 11 to 50, and then large practices of 51 plus. That's a huge range of different types of practices. And even if you're thinking like a 2 employee practice, a small practice, versus a 10 employee practice. So like I'm thinking about your practice before you sold it. You had maybe 12 staff. So like you would have been in the medium practice category, which is very different to other medium practice categories, like practices that I think of. So it's really difficult for them to gather like this kind of data and really help us to sort of see it. There's not like, it's not, you're not going to be able to see your practice and go, oh yeah, that's definitely me, unless you're probably a sole practitioner.
I think what it shows is that there is a struggle from being a company of 1 until you reap the benefits of being really large, 50 plus. It's harder in the middle. It is hard. And you have those, maybe it's the first time you've ever been a leader before. Maybe it's the first time you've ever had to take someone through disciplinary, or you've had to, encourage and inspire a team. There most really is more room for some like that profit, especially with the AI and software, that you can make some extra profit right now.
And it's those small and medium practices, but they need somebody who's got the capacity to go in and actually see the opportunity and work out how to do it.
And be the leader and not the employee. And what we see is that most of the CEOs of those kind of smaller size practices struggle.
They're doing the work.
Yeah, they're still doing the work.
They're the partner. They're the person who's sitting there signing things off. Yeah.
So I can understand that seems to ring true to what we know and the conversations that we have.
Okay, let's talk about biggest challenges and biggest opportunities. Because something like this, when you've got this data, when we talk about this in the collective, we're always talking about your SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You need to know what your competitors are doing and what the opportunities are in the industry. So I really like this part of it. So big challenges, adapting to technological change. It just happened. Like I get it. Like stuff happens and you have no control. You've just got to know it's there, don't you?
Yeah, I think something, surrounding myself as a woman in my 40s, I don't think I could easily see, and I see it with some of my friends, that they are starting to not really be up with the latest things, making a choice, deciding, I'm fine with what I'm doing. I've heard about that new thing, but it's not for me. But having teenagers, having you in my life, you're like always looking at new things. So it's a decision that I'm choosing to learn. It's not something that's easy and something I always want to do, but I'm like, right, just got to keep moving forward. I'm not ready to stand still and not learn all the new things. I get a bit of FOMO if someone's using something and I don't know how to use it. I'm like, still got that hunger for learning, but I can see how some people don't, and they think I'm fine where I'm at.
Oh my gosh, this is like my mum doesn't know how to use online banking, and I wonder, like, when does that happen that you sort of stop being, I don't know, have the headspace to like learn something. I don't know how our central heating works in my house. And
you've decided
that I will never learn.
Because you could definitely learn that. You know so many things, but it's just a choice.
Yeah.
And I think if we're okay with that choice, then that is fine. But I don't want people to be like, oh, everything's just moving too fast and I'm choosing. I still feel like I see some things that my kids do and I'm like, oh my God, that blows my mind. But I'm excited. I'm like, tell me, keep telling me. And I'm scared for that day that I go, nah, don't want to know anymore. I'm done. I feel like it's a bit of that's like a real end. Like, I'm not going to keep up anymore because it is going to keep going.
Yeah. So I guess we've got to just keep going to the conferences and hearing what people are doing. Yeah. I think that's what's nice about communities as well. You'll hear someone talking about it and then we're like, oh, maybe I could find out about that. What does that mean for me? What can they tell me about it?
Yeah. And I think I've done that very much with like using ChatGPT and just trying it out and not feeling like I have to be brilliant and an expert at it, but using it in my own way and just kind of, I don't know, even like I remember when I first opened up TikTok, and I know that is not like groundbreaking anymore, but it is to a lot of my friends. They don't have a TikTok account. I will send in my family WhatsApp, I often send a TikTok and everyone's like, oh, I can't open that. Can you download the video and send it? And I'm like, and in my friends group, like some of them didn't have Instagram accounts. So I had to help them all set them up. And I think we forget, again, being in our echo chamber, that this is just the norm for us. You know, we do a lot of things. I mean, we talk some language, you know, we're talking about RSS feeds and we talk about like email marketing and funnels and lead generation and
it's like a secret code.
Yeah. I can't speak like that with my friends. But they wouldn't know what I was talking about. So, but I wouldn't know. I mean, one of my friends is like a diplomat for the UN and saves, like, she does things with the ocean if there's an oil spill. Would I know? No, I would not know what to do.
Don't worry, call Joe.
I would not know what to do in that situation. So, but what I find is that 18% think of that as a challenge.
Yeah.
But then I think it's also an opportunity.
Well, that's on the other side.
Yeah.
18%, biggest challenge, adapting to technological change. On the other side, biggest opportunities, 14%, technological advancements other than AI. So, yay. So it's how you see it. Well, then there's 29% saying advancements in AI, biggest opportunity. It's like the biggest by far.
So it shows that it really is like your viewpoint on it.
Yeah.
Anything can be an opportunity or a threat.
Yep.
So it's fine. And you get to choose and build your business how you want to. I mean, it makes me laugh. We are building Hey Monica at the moment. And I, like, someone said to us, oh, you're a tech founder. I've just realised this morning. Oh, I was telling you, wasn't I? I realised I've got 3 earring holes in one ear. I thought I only had 2. Like, how am I a tech founder?
I think you...
So I literally cannot function most days. And then when someone says it makes me really laugh. But we are doing it as a team. And I'm open to listening to, like, the dev team about what needs to be done and, like, the next sprint. And I'm learning the language. And I'm just having fun with it. So I think that's the thing as well. It's a viewpoint. It's how you approach something. I'm not going in thinking I know of course I don't know everything. And I'm okay with that. I think it's a control level maybe of how much you're comfortable to go into something that's unknown.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that's why when you see other people do it and you're like, oh, they're doing that thing. Yeah. Maybe I could maybe that is for me.
Or you turn around and go, oh, look at them. Which a lot of people do. Oh, who do they think they are? It's your internal dialogue. So I find this really interesting. I am excited. 29% advancement in AI. Yes, we are using it. We've been using it for ages.
All the time. It's literally. I taught my daughter how to write a book on my daughter at the weekend. She's 8. She is doing a project at school about diversity. They have to do homework every week. Well, they don't really have to do it. Like, I don't push it.
No.
I don't know what that says about me as a parent. But she was like, oh, I'd like to do a project, Mum. What can I do? And I was like, oh, well, why don't you, I'll show you this thing I've learned how to do. I showed her how to make, using a GPT, an ebook. She did a research document using ChatGPT, and then she got it to write a whole, it's like a 20-page book. Then she put it in Canva, and she made this whole like PDF thing, sent it into school.
Love it.
She's 8. I'm like, there is a massive threat here to like non-fiction authors.
Yeah, but absolutely. But also, I'm just going to say it, that some of the teachers will not understand what she's done and how she's done it. And this is where I think education is going to change. You know, my daughter is 14, doesn't go to school, but her education is very different. And I'm actually actively unschooling her from the old way of doing. But is she learning every day? Is she doing so many things? Yes. So, and I think we have got to realise that it's not pass an exam and you're done.
No.
It never is in business, but I do think we have in bookkeepers and accountants mindset. They're like, well, I've done the work, I've done the learning.
But we usually learn it so we can have a job. We learn it for a job. We don't learn it because we think, I'll be self-employed doing that thing that other people do as a job. I didn't. I never thought I'd be self-employed.
No, I always knew I was going to be self-employed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that about you. You're just like, no job for me. Okay, there was one more. Advisory. Advisory is the thing that we talk about all the time. It is a way to show your expertise, add value to the clients that you work with.
Yeah.
It's the thing on the biggest opportunities. 11% say expansion of advisory services and strategic consulting. I love that. Ooh. It's like strategic consulting. It's like being a kind of business coach. It's like the sounding board for your client, so your client can confide in you, because they do confide in you.
Absolutely.
And then saying, I can help you with that. Let's have a look at the numbers. Where do you want to be in the future? How can I support you with this?
But you can't do any of that unless the numbers are good.
Yeah.
And that's why you need those bank feeds. But I think it's interesting. They've also pointed out in here, because obviously advisory is spoken about quite a lot. They actually have broken down what the people in their who they surveyed, what they think advisory is. And I think that's a really important thing to talk through, because I hear this all the time. Well, what is advisory? So let's go through that. What I found interesting was that when they surveyed people, they were asking them, okay, so you're saying that you've increased your advisory offering, but what are you including in that? So they have tax planning, business advisory. Now, business advisory to me is what the bank managers used to do. So it's quite interesting. I believe that's what that is. Planning and budgeting, analysing business performance, internal reporting, so compiling reports on financial and operational information for internal stakeholders such as employees, and external reporting, compiling reports for external stakeholders such as investors and boards, and software and app advisory. Now, something that's not there, but maybe I wonder where it would sit. Cash flow forecasting, management reporting.
Is that not under the budgeting part?
Well, I suppose it is. It depends on what you kind of class it as. But I think a lot of bookkeepers, when we talk about it, people mention management reports and cash flow forecasting, but they're all different things in. And I don't think we realise that tax planning, saying to someone, you know, I figured out that your VAT, put this much aside, your corp tax, put this much aside. It's all tax planning. You don't need to necessarily, of course, there are different levels of tax planning. But I think that all comes into, you know, making sure if someone's on like a quarterly payroll bill, making sure they're putting that money aside and things like that. So I just found that, I thought that was quite a nice list to go through and think, oh, okay, so maybe you don't want to offer everything.
No.
But these are these advisory services that are being offered in addition to the standard services that were being offered, and how they're increasing their revenue and profit with the clients they've already got.
Yeah, and I think some of that, like tax planning, I wouldn't have ever thought was in my remit. But, you know, when you think about like timings of things and being aware of financial years, and you know that what's your strategy here in terms of like you've got this growth plan, or you're going to make some investment here, or you know how do you time that to make that work the best for you. But if that isn't your area of expertise, maybe there's an introduction that you make to somebody else where you have that kind of referral arrangement, so you can still offer this. So this is the stuff that's going to grow your profit from adding additional services for those clients without you actually having to offer the service. It's just that agreement that brings the extra money.
And I did a lot of that on like an 80-20 split. You know, I'd manage the client, I'd own the client, and I'd work with somebody that would do some work. They weren't having to market and get that, but I knew that they were good at the delivery. And that worked really well for me. My clients were happy because they got that extra service. So yeah, I found that really interesting. Overall, I think the report has been like well worth a read. It's like we said, that kind of business strategy that we don't ever give ourselves time to do. We don't ever put think, I'm going to sit and read this. Oh, you do, actually. You love to sit and read a report, okay? Most normal people don't. But why have Xero done this? They've done this so that they get to know their customer better, their client better, and they can see where there's opportunities to improve that customer experience, but also their lives by, well, how can they be more profitable? How can they utilize technology more to have more time, make more profit?
I love that. Well, if you want to share your comments, go and get a copy of the report. We'll share the link underneath this video, and we would love to hear what you thought or what you learned from that report as well.
And we will see you next week for our next episode.